Hey, it's Ben Brown, founder of Chainwave. Today I'm here with the co-founders of Wallphy, a blockchain application we just finished the first build on. Really excited to talk to them today and learn more about our relationship and get their app into your guys' hands and really explore kind of how our relationship worked and how that build went for them. So I'm going to kick it off with Chad. Can you guys tell me a little more about like the business model you've gone for, how the inception of it and where you started?
Sure. Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense to start, long before the idea germinated. We're I'm fairly new into crypto. I spent the last few years, probably 4 years following it. A lot of friends nudging me and saying, "Hey, you should look into this. You should get into this. This is right up your alley." And over the last 18 months, really started to dip a toe and really take some positions and look into projects and start exploring. And one thing I found, not long after kind of diving into the deep end of the pool is that, for all of the information that's out there, which is there's just a tremendous amount, there are not a lot of tools that allow people trying to explore the projects that are coming out to really dig into them. There's a lot of charting tools and things like that, but there's nothing that really cuts through and shows like what's going on at the wallet level behind the chart. And so that really is the first idea that took hold with what ultimately became Wallphy. It's like, hey, how do we get a tool into the hands of anyone that's just trying to do some more research and really look at what's happening at the wallet level. That's kind of the root of it. So everything that came from that sort of was born out of that idea.
That's great. Yeah, it's a really great idea, which is kind of why we took on your project. We were really aligned with like the vision of helping investors, small and large, get access to that data, right? That unique data set. So what business, you and Evan, what business are you guys in normally?
Cool. I'll take a turn, Chad, to give you a break. But I suppose the main hat that we both wear is with Woodlawn Partners, which is a private equity group that owns a handful of businesses. And Chad and I are both focused on, I would say, the people side of business, but more broadly, looking at optimizing systems, being comfortable with complexity, but helping to create simple, repeatable processes around that kind of complexity. So if it's the craziness of all of us humans, but how can we build a business and processes around identifying, optimizing, and kind of repeating best practices around people and small businesses. So oddly, this, I think what we're doing with Wallphy fits in. Certainly more of a technology focused effort there, but it's really all about unraveling and kind of demystifying some of these complex patterns so that people can find certainty to act on. So that's what got us excited. We went a little bit down the rabbit hole, and thankfully we found the Chainwave guys to turn this into reality before we just completely spun ourselves out.
That's great. Thank you for that background. So like before you came to us and we met, what were you doing before that, like in your research and searching for groups?
Quite a bit. So there were a number of folks that we had talked to, within the industry, different developers. We sort of, after we sketched out the initial idea of, hey, this is what an app could look like, we started the process of, reaching out to people and, both like the kind of the gig economy folks first, and then ultimately wound up talking to more, what I would say more brick and mortar, development shops and programmers and engineers and things. And, we just went through a vetting process. I would say, what was it, about 2 months, Evan? We, had multiple meetings. We got to second base a few times. There's a lot out there. It's a pretty dynamic space. So there's a there's a lot more work that I think than there are, quality shops. So it was a real challenge for us to find someone that really understood what we were trying to do versus just kicking out something, to check a box on a page.
Yeah, I guess an added layer of detail on kind of what else we found. We knew from prior experience, and we talked to what I would consider a few traditional dev shops, and the basics of the app was something they would be very comfortable with. Database, easy access, figure it out. But both groups we were kind of seriously talking about were not only a little uncomfortable getting into the blockchain world, but almost in terms of inexperience, but almost kind of reluctant to do it. It was odd that there was almost this like, not sure we want to believe this is real. We don't really know what we're doing, and that's uncomfortable. We could try it, we could fake it. Maybe we could, you could be our guinea pig. But the real tipping point was that like reluctance of an apprehension about jumping in and learning something new versus an excitement about that. And so, when we found you guys, obviously you had the background that, you could be credible and confident, but I think the approach was also very different because our application, like everything in the blockchain is novel to some degree, it seems like. But we were really, comforted by the fact that you guys took it like, yeah, we think we can do that. And we're excited about where we can go with this. That really clicked with us because I think, Wallphy is very much a beginning, not a finished product. This is to Chad's kind of toe in the water. Now we're kind of stepping in. But I think one of the biggest sources of excitement for us is that we don't know where this is going to go. We see that it's something of value, but even in the current market environment, we know that there's more we could do with it. But knowing that the market's going to change before we even get there, that's kind of the fun part. And I think we really latched on with you guys with that same excitement about, oh God, phase 2 could be this, and then who knows? And wouldn't it be crazy with, okay, back to work, let's get something out there. But that was a cool process, and it clicked really strongly philosophically with how we were looking at this versus a lot of other dev shops that kind of wanted to be told what to do, wanted to deliver a product, and then send us a bill. So we've been thrilled, and it's played out that the way this has gone down, I think, has been consistent with that.
Great, yeah. Feelings are mutual on the excitement level. Like we're all so excited to work on the project. I mean, we don't take any project. We take the ones we feel that are a philosophical alignment and also great opportunities, right? So we can have a long-term successful relationship. So I'm with you on that one.
Cool.
The whole team is with you on that one too. So where do you guys feel like you've received the most value out of this process? I think you touched some points there, Evan, in your answer. I'm interested in seeing like how you express like the value points of our relationship.
I'll jump into that one first. For me, it's the process was fairly in depth, and so the value, it really was clear that you guys were taking this project serious, and you allowed us to sort of uncover, in some of our early stages where you were asking questions like, hey, you said this, but what about that? I think you're trying to get here. Have you thought about doing this? I think the finished product is, or at least the one we're going to launch with, is a lot different, I think, than it may have been, if not for some of those early conversations where, you guys made some suggestions and really dug into it with us. So it truly felt like we were doing this together versus, hey, here's a punch list.
Great, thanks. Yeah, we are in together, whether you like it or not, right?
Yeah.
So we kind of went over like kind of problems you're trying to solve with the team, finding the right team, finding the right people that are aligned with you. And I think you expressed some of those frustrations too. So like, let's get to like what the results you've seen. And I think what are the results you've received from our relationship, and how do you perceive those results coming in the future?
Well, I mean, for starters, we have a great app that's getting ready to launch. I think the results, will sort of speak for themselves, as far as that goes. I think, through the process, even when there were bugs or issues and things, you guys were all over it. And so, I mean, nothing's perfect out of the, first version 0.0.1 is just that, right? So it's a first step, and then we have to iterate and go back and log in and look for things. And you guys have been very active, even surprisingly so, compared to some other outside of crypto world development projects that I've been a part of. It's, I'm used to hearing a lot of, well, that's outside of scope, that's outside of scope. And you guys were great with sort of balancing, probably including a few things that may have been outside of scope, but also understanding that, like, hey, this is necessary to get a good product out. So, there's a lot of value there.
Well, and I'll add to that. I mean, Chad, we've had some shared pain on, my default, and this was a new relationship going in with you guys, is that we were going to be like a little bummed, a little bumped and bruised, but it would work. But we've had experiences where projects just, there's an issue and it's just like, well, it's not a bug, it's a feature. It's like, well, you didn't want that, but this is kind of all we can do. So we're giving you something different. You're welcome. And we've had a lot of that, like, oh, well, we can't really do that. So we're going to do this other thing that you didn't ask for, but we're going to try to convince you it's good enough. And I think, Ben, to most directly answer your question, like, we got delivered the product we wanted with some enhancements because we had multiple heads together and it was on time, on budget as promised. Like, that's a big deal in my experience. And maybe I just worked with the wrong people. But particularly in something where we didn't know how this was going to come together. Chad and I worked on, kind of SQL database kind of stuff, or, guys creating a new user interface, or, pulling data. And on those, it's, we can usually say, okay, I can see this. I know this should work. And then it's hoping you get there. There's a little bit of a creative leap on this that we thought it should work. The blockchain should cooperate, but we had real questions about, the amount of data that was going to be processed, some of the visualization, how things were going to pull. Just, is it going to really work? Because it's not just pulling stuff out of one static database. So, we've moved beyond that, but there was a huge degree of gratitude that this just happened. Because unfortunately, that was not guaranteed. I mean, we went into this and we'd started sending you guys money. We were doing the expected value. It was like, okay, we sent a deposit, and I'd say, 80% chance this works. Therefore, is this cool? I mean, that's where we were going into this, quite candidly. So just the fact that we made it to the finish line it's a big deal. So thank you.
No, thank you. Appreciate the words. Great. So, like, at that point, kind of I can glean something out of that, but, like, what areas of your guys's business or life have improved, stress levels or what, like, as a result of this project?
I think excitement is definitely up a click or two. I mean, we're getting ready to launch, it's frankly just a startup into, blockchain crypto world. And that's super exciting. I mean, it's like, that's this, people always use the analogy. It's like the internet in 1994. And I think that's pretty accurate. There's just, this stuff is all so early. That's super exciting. And so that's meaningful. There's not a lot of, businesses can be kind of boring, frankly. This is definitely not boring.
Yeah. Welcome to Wild West. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I add to that point. We're excited that, we talked to a lot of folks on either side of this, of the, we have no idea what you're talking about, or people that are so deep in something technical that, they're already in it and we can't hang with them. But, what we like about this is we've created something that allows kind of the common person to really interact in this world, not, buy Bitcoin, speculate on shitcoin, or just read about it. But this is like a tool that fairly informed people that want to do some work and really get engaged and kind of look under the hood and start to get into this. So, we're excited that it's a legitimately value-add project. It's not, speculative nonsense, or it's not some, crazy technical infrastructure thing that guys like us wouldn't belong with. We like that bridge, and frankly, we're trying to, in other things in the advance of this, kind of build more in that middle between kind of curious speculator and, like the total, insider engineer side. So that's been another thing of just not, this is cool. We're excited to see where it's going, but we like to think that this is a cool area that we can continue to build more and, meet other people who are doing more, kind of, develop out this space of more, kind of common user accessible stuff.
Great. That's good to hear too. A reiteration of kind of our position on the space is like making things easier to get into the blockchain space, being that conduit for the migration, right?
Yeah.
And being there and to help guide and be the Sherpa of that migration. So that's great. Thank you. This might be a sensitive question, but like, what is you guys' perceived ROI? Like, what's your end goal with this, and how do you see this application fulfilling that?
Yeah, that's a lot to unpack there. I mean, really, it's we view this project as sort of the landing craft on the beach, right? So this isn't really the end goal. This project should lead to more similar projects that sort of fit into the same ecosystem. So this could be the launching point for, an entire educational platform around crypto and blockchain. This is walletography, the study of wallets. What's next that's related to that, right? So it may even be things that don't even exist yet. 2 years ago, DeFi wasn't really a thing. And so that's kind of how we view this. It's like, okay, now we're in, and now let's tear some shit up, right? Let's figure this out. That's the exciting part. So ask me that in 6 months, and I can probably give you a better answer. But this is sort of the beachhead.
Great. Yeah. Happy to be along for that ride too. So like stepping back a little bit, where did you first hear about us? Like, I know you guys did your vetting process and that was a 2-month long thing. Like, where did you first hear us? Like what made you decide to pull the trigger?
We were referred to you guys through, I would say, friend, business acquaintance, guy that I've known in the Chicago developer world for a long time, and I'd lost track of him and COVID and everything else, and then was mentioning this, and a friend said, "Hey, you should get back in touch with this guy. He's building, he's doing something in blockchain," and it turns out it's turning into a fairly massive kind of, I would say kind of infrastructure company. And so, we reconnected and I explained what we were doing and said, we're doing this little kind of rinky-dink training wheels, consumer-facing thing relative to the stuff you're doing that I don't understand. Who do you know that can help us out? And so, that's how we got to you guys. And it was with an endorsement, which we like, not always available, but kind of a friend of friend thing, gave us that comfort in. That's I mentioned the other groups we were talking to. That was similar path to some other shops. So, we, for this sort of thing, that's kind of how we like to work. We weren't just Googling people.
Great. So you kind of got a great view of our relationship. I really appreciate all the kind words. It really means a lot to us. We put a lot of hard work into this, and we really value you guys. So how likely are you guys to recommend us, and like, why should someone engage with us?
Well, that's easy. We're already talking about V2 for Wallphy right now. So it's easy to recommend someone that, we believe enough, we're going to continue working together. That's kind of the highest order of magnitude on recommendations. I think the short answer, is why should someone work with Chainwave is, the last 10 questions, right? It's meaningful work. It's building a relationship. It's not transactional. Those things are really important. A lot of times, these projects are near and dear to our hearts, and I'm sure that's true of anyone reaching out to you guys or any developer. And it's nice to have an ally in that.
Great. Thank you. Last question to round up this interview. Like, what can we improve for you guys?
I think you did a really, really great job overall. The weekly calls were great. I think that was extremely helpful. Maybe like a more real-time access to, some of the kind of the mapping stuff that you guys look at internally. You have your own visual map of where the project is. It would have been great to have like a user where we could get into that, because a lot of times between our weekly calls, Evan and I are talking and we're thinking, where are they at on this? Well, I don't know. We didn't talk about that. It's just another email I have to send, Ben or Shelly or Greg or whoever. And if we could have had, access to that, I think it may have cut down at least on some of the emails, because it's like, oh no, here, they're working on it right now, that kind of thing.
Great. Thanks for that feedback. I think that's definitely something we can provide moving forward. Super helpful. We definitely will work on that. So in closing, I want to thank both of you guys. Let anyone know watching that, Wallphy is going to be launching here in the next couple of weeks. We'll have a token out, an app that you can access with that token, and it's going to be really cool to see it grow. I'm excited about it. My team's excited about it, and I think this is just the start of a great product, great community, and a suite of products, hopefully, for you guys in your portfolio. And so that's it from us. So everyone, please keep an eye out for Wallphy. We'll have some links in the description, and we'll be sending out links along with this everywhere we can, because we fully support this project.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.